crisp autumn wind rustled through the towering trees, their bare branches casting long shadows across the forest floor. Alex gazed out at the dense, foreboding expanse of the Appalachian wilderness, his heart racing with a familiar thrill. This ancient woodland, shrouded in mystery and dark legend, had long beckoned to him and his friends, a siren's call they could no longer resist. "Are you sure about this, Alex?" Tina asked, her brow furrowed with concern as she adjusted the straps of her backpack. "I mean, the stories about this place are pretty crazy. People have gone missing in these woods, never to be seen again." Alex flashed her a confident grin. "That's exactly why we have to check it out, babe. Think of the rush, the adrenaline. Aren't you the least bit curious to see if the rumors are true?" Jared, the ever-practical member of their group, cleared his throat. "I don't know, man. As much as I love a good adventure, this just seems unnecessarily risky. There could be perfectly logical explanations for the disappearances, you know. Maybe people just get lost or injured out here." Lily, the intuitive and sensitive one, remained silent, her gaze fixed on the towering trees. Alex noticed the tightness in her expression, the way her fingers fidgeted with the strap of her bag. She always had an uncanny sense for picking up on the unseen, the unknown. "Look, I get it. We're all a little nervous," Alex admitted, his tone softening. "But that's what makes this so exciting. We're going to be the ones to uncover the truth, to prove once and for all that these ghost stories are just a load of crap." He paused, his eyes gleaming with determination. "And imagine the bragging rights when we come out of this place alive and unscathed." Tina sighed, her resolve wavering in the face of Alex's infectious enthusiasm. "All right, fine. But the second things start to get too weird, we're turning back, no questions asked. Agreed?" The others reluctantly nodded, and with that, the group set off into the forest, their footsteps crunching on the fallen leaves. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, the air grew colder and the shadows deeper. Tall, gnarled trees seemed to close in around them, their twisted branches reaching out like bony fingers. Lily shivered, despite the weight of her pack, and a sense of unease crept up her spine. "Hey, Lil, you doing okay back there?" Jared asked, casting a concerned glance over his shoulder. Lily forced a smile. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just, this place gives me the creeps, you know? It feels like we're being watched." Jared chuckled nervously. "Well, that's not exactly reassuring, but I'm sure it's just our imagination running wild. There's no such thing as ghosts or other supernatural nonsense, right?" Alex led the way, his steps unwavering as he navigated the dense undergrowth. "Come on, you guys. Where's your sense of adventure? This is exactly the kind of thrill we came for." Tina rolled her eyes, but there was a hint of excitement in her voice. "Easy for you to say, Mr. Adrenaline Junkie. Some of us prefer to keep our feet firmly on the ground, thank you very much." As the group pressed on, the forest seemed to grow ever darker, the sunlight filtering through the canopy above reduced to a dim, eerie glow. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them, something ancient and malevolent that lurked just beyond the reach of her senses. Suddenly, a sudden movement in the corner of her eye made her heart leap. "Did you guys see that?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. The others paused, scanning the trees with renewed caution. "See what?" Jared asked, his voice tense. Lily swallowed hard. I'm not sure. I thought I saw something, but it was just for a second. Maybe it was just a bird or something." Alex chuckled, though Lily detected a hint of uncertainty in his tone. "Yeah, probably just your imagination running wild, Lil. This place is getting to you, huh?" Tina shot Alex a pointed look. "Maybe we should turn back, Alex. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get a really bad feeling about this." Alex hesitated, his gaze sweeping the dark, towering trees. For a moment, Lily thought she saw a flicker of doubt in his eyes, but then his expression hardened, a familiar, stubborn determination settling on his features. "Nah, we've come this far. Let's keep going. I'm sure it's nothing." With a resigned sigh, the group continued their trek, the unease growing with every step. Lily couldn't shake the unsettling sensation that they were being watched, that some unseen presence had its sights set on them. The forest seemed to grow darker, the shadows deeper, as if the very trees were conspiring against them. As the group wound their way through the maze of trunks and tangled undergrowth, Lily couldn't help but wonder what other secrets the ancient woodland held. What dark forces had drawn them here, And would they have the strength to confront whatever awaited them? The air grew colder, and Lily shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around her. She cast a glance over her shoulder, her heart pounding. But the forest offered no answers, only an ominous silence that seemed to whisper of impending doom. The forest seemed to close in around them as the group ventured deeper into the ancient woodland. The once vibrant autumn colors had given way to a sea of muted grays and browns, the towering trees stripped bare of their leaves. An eerie silence hung in the air, broken only by the occasional snap of a twig underfoot or the distant call of a lone bird. Jared scanned their surroundings with a critical eye, his scientific mind searching for rational explanations to counter the growing sense of unease. The lack of wildlife in the strange atmosphere could simply be due to the change in seasons. Nothing supernatural about it, he said, mostly to reassure himself. Tina shot him a skeptical look. Somehow, I don't think that's the only reason this place is giving me the creeps. There's just something off about it. Alex, undeterred by the ominous atmosphere, forged ahead, his long strides effortlessly navigating the tangled undergrowth. Come on, you guys, we're making good time. Just think, we'll be the first ones to uncover the truth behind these ghost stories. Lily hung back, her senses on high alert. The further they ventured into the forest, the more she could feel a palpable shift in the air, as if the very essence of the place had changed. A chill ran down her spine, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "Alex, maybe we should turn back," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm starting to get a really bad feeling about this." Alex paused, turning to face the group. "Seriously, Lily? You're not getting cold feet on us now, are you?" Tina stepped forward, placing a reassuring hand on Lily's arm. "Listen, Lil, I know this place is freaky, but Alex is right. We've come this far, and I, for one, want to get to the bottom of these legends." Jared nodded in agreement. "Yeah, and I'm not one to believe in the supernatural. There has to be a rational explanation for everything we've experienced so far." Lily bit her lip, her gaze darting from one friend to the next. She knew they wouldn't be dissuaded, not with Alex's stubborn determination leading the way. Resigned, she sighed and nodded. "Okay, fine, but the second things start to get really weird. We're turning back. Agreed?" The others murmured their assent, and the group pressed on, the dense foliage closing in around them like the jaws of some ancient sleeping beast. As they navigated the winding forest paths, Lily couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end, and she found herself constantly glancing over her shoulder, searching the shadows for any sign of movement. Jared, ever the skeptic, seemed to pick up on her unease. "Hey, Lil, you doing all right back there?" he asked, his brow furrowed with concern. Lily forced a smile, though it felt strained. "Yeah, I'm fine. I can't shake the feeling that we're being followed or something. It's giving me the creeps." Jared chuckled uneasily. "Well, you're not the only one. This place is starting to get to me too. But you know me. I'm sure there's a perfectly logical explanation for all of this." As if to challenge Jared's rational approach, a sudden rustling in the bushes ahead caused the group to freeze in their tracks. Alex instinctively reached for a sturdy branch, his eyes scanning the area for the source of the disturbance. "What the hell was that?" Tina whispered, her voice laced with fear. The group held their collective breath, waiting in tense silence for any further signs of movement. Lily's heart pounded in her chest, and she could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins. After what felt like an eternity, a small rabbit emerged from the undergrowth, darting across the path and disappearing into the dense foliage on the other side. The group let out a collective sigh of relief, though the lingering tension in the air was palpable. "See? Nothing to worry about," Jared said, his voice betraying a hint of uncertainty. "Just a jumpy little critter, that's all." Alex, however, wasn't convinced. "Yeah, but what spooked it, huh? There's got to be something out there, something that's making even the wildlife nervous." Tina shuddered, wrapping her arms around herself. "Can we please just keep moving? I feel like we're being watched, and it's giving me the creeps." The group continued their trek, the air growing colder, and the shadows deepening with every step. Lily couldn't shake the ominous feeling that something was following them, its presence just beyond the reach of her senses. As they navigated a particularly dense section of the forest, Lily suddenly froze, her eyes widening in horror. "Guys, look," she whispered, pointing to a spot on the ground. The others followed her gaze and felt their blood run cold. There, partially obscured by a tangle of roots and leaves, lay a human skull, its empty socket staring up at them with an eerie, eternal gaze. Tina let out a terrified gasp, clinging to Alex's arm. "Oh my God, that's a real human skull. What is it doing out here?" Jared knelt down, carefully examining the macabre discovery. This is definitely not something you'd expect to find in a normal forest. There's no way this is just some animal remains." Alex's expression hardened, his initial thrill-seeking eagerness replaced by a subtle hint of unease. "Okay, so maybe the ghost stories aren't just stories after all, but that doesn't mean we should just turn tail and run. We're so close to the truth now, we have to keep going." Lily shook her head vehemently. "Alex, I really think we should get out of here. This place is giving me a bad feeling, and now with the skull, I don't know, I just have a really bad feeling about all of this." Tina nodded in agreement. "Lily's right, Alex. I'm starting to think this was a really bad idea. Maybe we should just go back and tell the authorities about the skull. Let them handle it." The group fell silent, the weight of their situation bearing down on them. Lily could feel the tension mounting, the sense of unease and fear palpable in the air. She knew they were in over their heads, that the forest held dark secrets they were not prepared to confront. As the group debated their next move, Lily couldn't help but wonder what other unsettling discoveries awaited them. And what or who had left that skull behind, forgotten and forsaken in the depths of the ancient woodland. The eerie silence that followed the discovery of the human skull was broken only by the faint rustling of leaves and the muffled sound of the group's quickened footsteps. Lily felt a chill run down her spine as she stared at the macabre remnant, its empty socket seemingly fixed on her with a haunting intensity. "We need to get out of here," Tina said, her voice quivering. "Right now." Alex, normally the bold and confident leader of the group, seemed uncharacteristically shaken. "Hold on, let's not jump to any conclusions. Maybe it's just, I don't know, some kind of archaeological find or something. We should investigate further." Jared shook his head vehemently. "Are you serious, man? That's a freaking human skull, and it's just sitting here in the middle of the forest. There's nothing normal about that." He paused, a hint of fear creeping into his voice. "We need to get the hell out of this place, right now." Lily could feel the tension building, the group's unity starting to fray under the weight of the unsettling discovery. She opened her mouth to voice her own growing concern, but before she could speak, a sudden eerie howl echoed through the trees, freezing the group in their tracks. "What the hell was that?" Tina whispered, her eyes darting around the forest, searching for the source of the chilling sound. Alex tightened his grip on the branch he had been carrying, his knuckles turning white. "I don't know, but I don't think we want to stick around to find out. Come on, let's go." The group quickly gathered their belongings and resumed their frantic pace, the forest now seeming to close in around them, the shadows darkening with each step. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that something was stalking them from the depths of the ancient woodland. As they navigated the winding trails, the group found themselves growing increasingly disoriented. The once familiar landmarks seemed to have shifted, and the path they had taken now appeared distorted and unfamiliar. "Guys, I think we're lost," Jared said, his brow furrowed in concentration as he scanned their surroundings. "I can't find any of the markers we passed earlier." Tina's eyes widened in panic. "Lost? What do you mean lost? We can't be lost. We need to find our way out of here." Alex raised a hand, his expression grim. "Calm down, Tina. We'll figure this out. Jared, can you try to get a bearing on our location? Maybe we can find a way back to the trailhead." Jared nodded, his gaze sweeping the forest around them. "I'll do my best, but this place is like a maze. I don't know if I can get us back the way we came." Lily felt her heart racing, the weight of their situation sinking in. "Guys, I really think we should start heading back the way we came. I have a bad feeling about this place, and now with the skull and that sound we heard, I don't think we should be staying here any longer." Alex hesitated, his eyes narrowing as he considered Lily's words. "I don't know, Lil. If we're lost, heading back might just lead us deeper into the forest. Maybe we should try to find another way out." Tina grabbed Alex's arm, her grip tight. "Alex, please. I'm with Lily on this one. I want to get out of here now. I don't care if we have to backtrack. I just want to be as far away from this place as possible." The group fell silent, the tension palpable as they struggled to decide their next move. Lily could feel her anxiety mounting, the sense of unease and foreboding growing with each passing moment. Suddenly, a strange, distorted sound reached their ears, like the creaking and groaning of ancient twisted wood. The group froze, their gazes darting around the forest, searching for the source of the unsettling noise. "Did you guys hear that?" Jared whispered, his voice barely audible. Lily nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "Yes, I heard it. What is that?" The sound grew louder, a deep, resonating rumble that seemed to emanate from all around them. Lily felt a chill run down her spine, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. "I don't know, but I don't like it," Tina said, her voice trembling. "We need to get out of here, now." The group began to move, their pace quickening as they navigated the tangled undergrowth. But as they pressed forward, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something was pursuing them, stalking them through the shadows. Suddenly, a towering, twisted tree branch crashed down in front of them, blocking their path. Tina let out a startled scream, and the group stumbled backward, their hearts racing. "What the hell?" Alex exclaimed, his eyes wide with disbelief. Jared's expression was one of pure terror. "Guys, I don't think we're dealing with a normal forest here. That branch, it moved on its own." Lily felt a wave of panic wash over her. "We're trapped," she breathed, her voice laced with fear. "We're trapped, and something is toying with us." The sound of the creaking, groaning wood grew louder, and the group huddled together, their backs against a towering tree trunk as they scanned the forest for any sign of escape. Suddenly, a dark, shadowy figure emerged from the trees, its form indistinct and shifting, like a mirage in the heat. Lily felt her breath catch in her throat, her eyes widening in horror as the entity drew closer. "What is that?" Tina whispered, her voice trembling. The figure seemed to glide across the forest floor, its movements fluid and unsettling. As it drew nearer, Lily could make out a vaguely humanoid shape, but its features were obscured, as if it were made of the very darkness that surrounded them. I don't know," Lily stammered, her mind racing, "but I think we're about to find out." The group huddled together, their hearts pounding as the strange, shadowy entity approached, its presence filling the air with a sense of dread and foreboding. Lily knew they were in grave danger, trapped in the depths of the ancient forest, with no means of escape. "We're not getting out of this, are we?" Tina whispered, her voice laced with fear. Lily swallowed hard, her gaze fixed on the advancing figure. I don't know, but I have a feeling we're about to find out just what kind of dark forces we've stumbled upon." As the shadowy entity drew closer, the group braced themselves for the impending confrontation, their fate now firmly in the hands of the malevolent forest spirit that lurked within the depths of the ancient woodland. The shadowy figure loomed closer, its amorphous form gliding across the forest floor with an unsettling grace. Lily felt her heart pounding in her chest, her mind racing as she tried to make sense of the terrifying entity that now threatened her and her friends. "What is that thing?" Tina whispered, her voice laced with terror. "It doesn't look human at all." Jared's expression was one of equal parts fear and fascination. I don't know, but it's definitely not natural. There's something seriously wrong with this place." Alex tightened his grip on the sturdy branch he had been wielding, his knuckles turning white. "Okay, everyone stay calm. We're going to get out of this, I promise." His voice wavered, betraying his own uncertainty. Lily could feel the air around them grow colder, the shadows deepening as the entity drew nearer. She could sense a malevolent intelligence behind its movements, a dark purpose that chilled her to the core. "Guys, I don't think we can outrun this thing," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. It's toying with us like a cat with a mouse. We need to stand our ground and face it head on." Tina's eyes widened in disbelief. "Are you crazy, Lily? That thing is not human, and it's obviously not something we can fight. We need to get out of here now." The entity paused, its formless shape seeming to undulate and shift, as if it were studying the group. Lily felt a strange pull, a sense of dread and fascination that she couldn't quite explain. "Tina's right, we can't fight this thing," Jared said, his voice trembling. "But maybe we can reason with it, or at least distract it long enough for us to find a way out. Alex shook his head, his expression grim. No way, man. I'm not going to wait around and see what that thing wants. We're getting out of here now. He turned to make a break for the trees, but the moment he took a step, the twisted branch that had blocked their path earlier suddenly swung down, cutting off their escape route. Tina let out a startled cry, and the group recoiled, their hearts racing. It's toying with us, Lily breathed, her eyes fixed on the looming entity. This thing, it's intelligent. It knows we can't get away. The shadowy figure seemed to draw closer, its presence filling the air with a sense of dread and foreboding. Lily felt a strange pull, a compulsion to understand the nature of this dark entity. What do you want from us? She asked, her voice surprisingly steady. The entity paused, as if considering her question. Then, a deep, resonating voice echoed through the forest, sending chills down Lily's spine. You have trespassed upon my domain, the voice rumbled, its tone a menacing mixture of power and malice. Mortals who dare to venture into these ancient woods must face the consequences of their actions. Jared swallowed hard, his gaze darting from the entity to the impassable branch that blocked their path. Look, we didn't mean to intrude. We were just trying to explore the forest, that's all. We didn't know it belonged to you. The entity's form seemed to shift and undulate, as if it were considering Jared's words. Ignorance is no excuse. You have disturbed the balance of this place, and for that, you must pay the price. Lily felt a chill run down her spine, her mind racing as she tried to understand the nature of this dark, supernatural being. What price? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The entity's response was chilling. Your lives. Tina let out a terrified gasp, clinging to Alex's arm. Oh my God, we're going to die out here. We're all going to die. Alex's expression hardened, his initial fear giving way to a steely determination. No way, you creepy son of a bitch. We're not going down without a fight. He raised the branch, his muscles tensing as he prepared to strike. But before he could move, the entity let out a low, rumbling laugh that seemed to reverberate through the very trees around them. Foolish mortals, the entity growled. Your puny weapons hold no power against me. Suddenly the ground beneath their feet began to tremble, and Lily felt a sense of dread wash over her. The twisted branches and gnarled roots seemed to come alive, reaching out towards the group with an unsettling malevolence. What's happening? Jared cried, his voice laced with panic. Lily watched in horror as the forest itself seemed to turn against them, the very environment they had once traversed with relative ease, now becoming a treacherous living trap. It's the forest spirit, she breathed, her eyes wide with realization. It's controlling the forest, using it to... Her words were cut off as a thick, gnarled root suddenly lashed out, wrapping around her ankle and yanking her to the ground. Tina screamed, and the others scrambled to help Lily, but they were quickly ensnared as well, the roots and branches constricting around them with an unyielding grip. Lily struggled against the relentless hold, her heart pounding in her chest. We have to get out of here, she cried, her voice tinged with desperation. The entity's laughter echoed through the forest, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Lily's spine. There is no escape, it boomed, its voice resonating with a power that seemed to shake the very earth. Jared, his face etched with fear, managed to free one of his hands and reach into his pocket. Maybe there's something in here that can help, he muttered, his fingers desperately rifling through the contents. Lily watched in anguish as her friends fought against the unnatural bonds that held them, their efforts seemingly in vain. She could feel the weight of their situation bearing down on her, the realization that they might not make it out of this alive. Suddenly, Jared let out a triumphant cry. Aha! I knew I brought these for a reason. He held up a small, cylindrical object, his expression determined. What is that? Alex asked, his voice strained from the effort of trying to break free. Jared's lips curled into a grim smile. Flares. I figured they might come in handy if we got lost or needed to signal for help. Well, now's the time to put them to use. With a swift motion, he ignited the flare, the bright fiery glow illuminating the forest around them. The entity let out a piercing, agonized shriek, its form recoiling from the intense light. Now everyone, pull, Jared shouted, his voice strained. Lily and the others redoubled their efforts, their muscles straining as they fought against the relentless grip of the roots and branches. Inch by inch they managed to free themselves, the entity's hold weakening in the face of the flare's blazing light. As they made a desperate dash for freedom, Lily couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they had a chance of escaping this nightmare. But the forest spirit was far from defeated. With a furious roar, it lashed out, its shadowy tendrils reaching for the fleeing group. Lily felt a searing pain as one of the appendages struck her arm, and she stumbled, her heart pounding in her chest. "Keep going," she cried, her voice ragged. "Don't stop, no matter what." The group pressed on, their lungs burning as they navigated the treacherous forest, the entity's enraged cries echoing in their wake. Lily could feel the darkness closing in, the forest spirit's malevolent presence seemingly permeating every corner of the ancient woodland. As they ran, Lily caught a glimpse of a dim, distant light, a glimmer of hope amidst the oppressive gloom. "There," she shouted, her voice laced with relief. "I see the way out." Summoning the last of their strength, the group surged forward, their determination fueled by the prospect of freedom. Lily could feel the entity's presence closing in, its dark tendrils lashing out with renewed ferocity. But this time, they were ready. Jared swung the flare, the bright flame driving the entity back, its unearthly screams piercing the air. With a final desperate burst of speed, the group burst through the tree line, emerging into the fading light of day. Lily felt a wave of relief wash over her, her lungs burning as she gasped for air. They had made it against all odds, but she knew the true battle was far from over. The forest spirit's dark influence had been temporarily thwarted, but Lily knew that it lingered, its malevolent presence still clinging to the ancient woodland. As the group caught their breath, she couldn't help but wonder what other horrors awaited them, and whether they would have the strength to confront the entity once and for all. As the group burst out of the tree line, their lungs burning and their limbs aching from the frantic dash, a sense of tentative relief washed over them. They had escaped the clutches of the malevolent forest spirit, at least for the moment, but Lily knew their ordeal was far from over. She cast a wary glance back at the ominous forest, its shadows seeming to reach out towards them, as if the entity were unwilling to relinquish its prey. Lily shuddered, the memory of its chilling presence still fresh in her mind. "Keep moving," Alex shouted, his voice laced with urgency. "We need to put as much distance between us and that thing as possible." The group needed no further encouragement, their legs pumping as they hurried down the narrow path that led away from the treacherous woodland. Tina, her face pale and her eyes wide with terror, clutched Alex's hand, her grip tight enough to turn her knuckles white. Jared, his brow furrowed in concentration, led the way, the flickering glow of the flare in his hand casting an eerie, dancing light on the path ahead. Lily could see the strain on his features, the effort it took to maintain his composure in the face of such overwhelming dread. As they ran, Lily couldn't help but glance over her shoulder, searching the shadows for any sign of the forest spirit's return. The memory of its otherworldly presence, the way it had manipulated the very forest itself, sent a chill down her spine. "It's coming," she warned, her voice barely above a whisper. "I can feel it, like a darkness closing in around us." Tina let out a strangled cry. No, we can't go through that again. We have to keep moving, we have to—" Her words were cut off by a sudden, ominous groan that seemed to reverberate through the earth beneath their feet. The group froze, their eyes wide with panic as they scanned their surroundings. "What was that?" Jared breathed, the flare in his hand casting flickering shadows across his face. Alex gripped his makeshift weapon tighter, his knuckles turning white. "I don't know, but I don't like it. We need to—" Before he could finish his sentence, the ground suddenly lurched, sending the group staggering as the earth seemed to shift and buckle beneath them. Lily felt her heart racing, the adrenaline coursing through her veins as she struggled to maintain her balance. "It's the forest spirit," Lily cried, her voice laced with terror. "It's trying to trap us again." Thick, gnarled roots erupted from the ground, snaking towards the group with alarming speed. Jared swung the flare, the bright flame driving the writhing tendrils back, but Lily could see the strain on his face, the effort it took to keep the entity at bay. "We need to find another way out of here now," Alex shouted, his eyes darting frantically around their surroundings. The group scrambled, their feet slipping on the uneven ground as they searched for an escape route. Lily could feel the weight of the situation bearing down on her, the knowledge that they were once again at the mercy of the forest spirit's dark power. Suddenly, Tina let out a gasp, her gaze fixed on a spot in the distance. "Look, over there, I think I see a path." Lily followed her line of sight, her heart leaping with renewed hope. Sure enough, through the gloom, she could make out the faint outline of a narrow trail, winding its way through the trees. "Good eye, Tina," Alex said, his voice tinged with relief. "All right, everyone, stick close and follow me. We're getting out of this alive, I promise." Without hesitation, the group set off down the newly discovered path, their pace frantic as they fled from the relentless pursuit of the forest spirit. Lily could hear the entity's unearthly wails echoing through the trees, a chilling sound that sent shivers down her spine. As they ran, the path grew increasingly treacherous, the ground littered with fallen branches and tangled roots. Lily felt her heart pounding in her chest, her lungs burning with every labored breath. Suddenly, a loud crack rent the air, and Lily watched in horror as the ground in front of them split open, a yawning chasm opening up between them and the path ahead. "Jump!" Alex shouted, his voice laced with desperation. Without hesitation, the group hurled themselves across the gap, their bodies twisting and contorting as they fought to reach the other side. Lily felt a sickening lurch in her stomach as she sailed through the air, the abyss below yawning open like the jaws of some ancient, hungry beast. For a moment, time seemed to slow, and Lily could feel the weight of their situation bearing down on her. They had fought so hard to escape the forest spirit's clutches, only to be confronted with yet another obstacle, another test of their will to survive. As her feet hit the ground on the other side, Lily felt a surge of relief, but it was short-lived. She turned to see Jared, his face etched with terror, as he clung to the edge of the chasm, his grip slipping. "Jared!" Lily cried, reaching out to him without a moment's hesitation. Alex and Tina were quick to join her, their hands grasping at Jared's arms as they strained to pull him to safety. But the weight of his pack and the slippery nature of the ground made their task a perilous one. I can't hold on," Jared gasped, his eyes wide with fear. Lily felt a sense of desperation wash over her, her mind racing as she searched for a way to save her friend. "Jared, listen to me. You have to keep fighting. We're not going to let you fall. Do you hear me?" Jared's grip began to slip, his fingers scrabbling against the loose soil. I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice laced with regret. Lily watched in horror as Jared's fingers finally lost their purchase, and he plummeted into the abyss, his terrified cries echoing through the forest. "No!" Lily screamed, the sound tearing from her throat as she lunged forward, desperate to somehow reach him. But it was too late. Jared was gone, swallowed by the dark, yawning chasm that had opened up before them. Lily felt a wave of grief and guilt wash over her, her heart shattering at the loss of her friend. Alex and Tina pulled her back, their faces etched with sorrow and fear. "We have to keep moving," Alex said, his voice hoarse. Jared wouldn't want us to give up." Lily nodded, her vision blurred by tears. She knew they had to press on, to honor Jared's memory by surviving this nightmare. But the weight of their loss threatened to overwhelm her, the guilt and anguish threatening to consume her. As they continued their harrowing trek, Lily could feel the forest spirit's presence looming ever closer, its malevolent power pulsing through the very earth beneath their feet. She knew they were running out of time, that the entity was toying with them, drawing them deeper into its domain. But Lily refused to give in to despair. She would fight for Jared's sake, for her own survival, and for the chance to finally confront the dark forces that had brought them to this hellish place. With a renewed sense of determination, she followed Alex and Tina, her resolve hardening with each step. The path ahead was treacherous, littered with obstacles and traps that seemed to spring up at every turn. But Lily knew they had to press on, to find a way to escape the forest spirit's clutches once and for all. As they navigated the twisted, tangled undergrowth, Lily couldn't help but wonder what other horrors awaited them. But she knew, in the depths of her heart, that they had to face them, no matter the cost. For Jared's sake, and for their own, they had to survive. The forest seemed to loom around them, its shadows stretching and contorting as if alive with a malevolent energy. Lily felt the weight of Jared's loss bearing down on her, the anguish and guilt mingling with the overwhelming sense of dread that filled the air. As the small group trudged onward, their steps heavy and their spirits broken, Lily couldn't help but glance over her shoulder, half expecting to see the looming presence of the forest spirit lurking in the gloom. The memory of its chilling power, the way it had manipulated the very essence of the ancient woodland, was seared into her mind, a constant source of unease. "We need to find a way out of here fast," Alex said, his voice strained. "I don't know how much more of this I can take." Tina, her eyes red-rimmed from crying, nodded in agreement. "I just want to be as far away from this place as possible. After what happened to Jared, Her voice trailed off, the unspoken grief hanging between them. Lily reached out and squeezed Tina's hand, offering what little comfort she could. "We'll get through this together," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Jared wouldn't want us to give up." The words seemed hollow even to Lily's own ears, but she knew they had to keep moving to find a way to escape the forest spirit's clutches. Losing Jared had been a devastating blow, a painful reminder of the true horrors that lurked within the ancient woodland. As they pressed on, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that the entity's malevolent gaze was fixed upon them, tracking their every move. The forest seemed to close in around them, the shadows deepening with each step, and Lily found herself constantly scanning the trees for any sign of the forest spirit's return. Suddenly, a faint rustling in the undergrowth caused the group to freeze, their hearts pounding in their chests. Lily gripped the branch she had been carrying, her knuckles turning white as she waited with bated breath. A small rabbit darted out from the bushes, its eyes wide with fear. Lily felt a wave of relief wash over her, but it was short-lived. "Wait, where's the flare?" Tina whispered, her gaze darting around their surroundings. Lily's eyes widened as she realized that Jared's makeshift torch was nowhere to be seen. "Oh no," she breathed, her heart sinking. "We must have lost it when we were running." Alex cursed under his breath, his expression grim. "Damn it, that was our only defense against that thing. Now we're sitting ducks in the dark." Lily felt a chill run down her spine as she considered their predicament. Without the flare's bright light to keep the forest spirit at bay, they were vulnerable, exposed to the entity's malevolent power. "We have to keep moving," she said, her voice barely steady. "We can't stay here, not with that thing out there." The others nodded in agreement, and the group pressed on, their steps tentative and their senses on high alert. Lily could feel the weight of the forest around them, the oppressive silence broken only by the occasional snap of a twig or the distant call of a bird. As they navigated the winding trails, Lily couldn't help but notice how the familiar landmarks had shifted, the once recognizable paths now seemingly distorted and unrecognizable. A sense of unease settled over her, the feeling that they were no longer in control of their own destiny. "Alex, I think we're lost," Tina whispered, her voice trembling. Alex's brow furrowed, his expression etched with frustration. "No, that can't be. We were following the path, I'm sure of it." Lily shook her head, her gaze fixed on the tangled undergrowth around them. "No, Tina's right. This doesn't look like the way we came. I think the forest spirit is toying with us, leading us deeper into its domain." The realization sent a chill down her spine, and Lily felt a wave of fear wash over her. They were trapped, at the mercy of the malevolent entity that had already claimed the life of their friend. "What do we do?" Tina asked, her voice laced with desperation. Lily opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, a sudden ominous creaking sound reached their ears, like the groan of ancient twisted wood. The group froze, their eyes wide with terror as they scanned their surroundings. Lily felt her heart pounding in her chest, her grip tightening on the branch she held, ready to defend herself and her friends against the impending threat. Suddenly, a towering, gnarled branch erupted from the ground, its twisted limbs reaching for them with a chilling, deliberate intent. Tina let out a terrified scream, and the group scrambled to get out of the way, their movements frantic and desperate. "Run!" Alex shouted, his voice laced with panic. The group darted through the forest, their feet pounding against the uneven ground as they desperately sought to escape the forest spirit's relentless pursuit. Lily could feel the entity's presence all around them, its malevolent energy seeping into the very air they breathed. As they ran, Lily's mind raced, desperately searching for a way out of their predicament. They couldn't keep running forever, and she knew that the forest spirit would continue to hound them, using the very forest against them. Suddenly, an idea struck her, and she turned to the others, her expression grim. "We need to find water," she said, her voice low and urgent. The forest spirit seems to be connected to the land, but water might be our only way to escape its grasp. Alex's eyes widened with understanding. Of course, the river. If we can find the river, we might have a chance. Tina's face lit up with a glimmer of hope. Then let's go. What are we waiting for? The group renewed their efforts, their pace frantic as they searched for any sign of the river that Lily had mentioned. Lily felt a renewed sense of determination, a glimmer of hope that they might actually find a way out of this nightmare. As they navigated the tangled undergrowth, Lily couldn't help but glance over her shoulder, half expecting to see the forest spirit's menacing presence lurking in the shadows. The entity's malevolent power seemed to permeate every corner of the ancient woodland, and Lily knew that they were far from out of danger. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they caught sight of the glimmering surface of the river, its waters flowing steadily through the forest. Lily felt a surge of relief, but it was tempered by the lingering sense of unease that refused to leave her. "Okay, everyone, get in the water now," Alex commanded, his voice brooking no argument. The group waded into the river, the icy cold of the water sending a shiver down their spines. Lily could feel the forest spirit's presence looming behind them, its malevolent energy pulsing through the air. As they submerged themselves in the river, Lily couldn't help but wonder if they had truly found a way to escape the entity's clutches. The forest spirit's power seemed to permeate every aspect of the ancient woodland, and she knew that their ordeal was far from over. Lily glanced at her friends, their faces etched with a mixture of relief and trepidation. She knew that they had survived the worst of the forest spirit's onslaught, but the lingering sense of unease that clung to them was a constant reminder of the horrors they had faced. As the river carried them further from the treacherous forest, Lily couldn't help but wonder what other secrets the ancient woodland held, what dark forces still lurked in the shadows. The memory of Jared's tragic fate weighed heavily on her, a painful reminder of the price they had paid for their ill-fated adventure. Lily knew that the scars of their experience would never fully heal, that the haunting presence of the forest spirit would forever linger in their minds. But as they emerged from the river battered and bruised, she also knew that they had survived against all odds, and that in itself was a testament to their strength and resilience. As the group trudged away from the forest, Lily couldn't help but glance back, her gaze fixed on the towering trees and the shadows that seemed to cling to them. The forest spirit's malevolent power still lingered, a constant reminder of the ancient unseen forces that ruled this treacherous realm. Lily knew that they would never truly be free, that the forest's unearthly influence would forever haunt them. But in that moment, as they left the ancient woodland behind, she also knew that they had faced the darkness and emerged, if not unscathed, then at least alive. The road ahead would be long and uncertain, but Lily was determined to see it through, to honor the memory of their fallen friend, and to confront the lingering unease that the forest spirit had left in its wake. For now they had survived, and that was all that mattered.